Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the latest edition of Wow, Lynch, Wow. Dedicated to filmmaker David Lynch and inspired by the triumphant return of Twin Peaks. A friendly warning to everyone who isn't caught up on all 15 episodes of the new Twin Peaks. There will be spoilers and they will begin shortly. So viewers and listeners, be warned. Part 15 begins on Nadine. She's walking down the highway and carrying a gold shovel. She walks to the gas station and she tells Ed that he's free. She wants Ed and Norma to be together, and Nadine regrets ever keeping them apart. At first, Ed doubts her sincerity, but it doesn't take much from her to convince him otherwise. Ed hauls ass to the double R. He can't wait to tell Norma the good news, but his timing couldn't have been worse. She is meeting with blowhard Walter, who asks if she received his flowers. Ed sits down dejected, and he orders himself a coffee from Shelley. Norma informs Walter that she wants out. She's exercising her option to have them buy her out. She just wants to go back to having one diner, her diner. Walter thinks she's making a big mistake, but Norma knows what she wants. Walter leaves, and holy shit, it seems Ed and Norma might be having a happy ending after all. Ed proposes to Norma and she accepts. Shelley watches on, clearly moved by the magical moment before her. Bad Coop is driving down a road and he pulls into a convenience store where he is greeted by a friendly woodsman. The woodsman leads him upstairs, up above the convenience store, into some type of a zone. We could assume that this is the place Ray referred to as the Dutchman's, because as soon as he gets in there, Bad Coop asks another woodsman about Philip Jeffries. Bad Coop is led along a surreal path and up a stairwell that resembles the one from Cole's vision of the dirty bearded men. Bad Coop continues his way through a door, and he is halted by another door that's locked. A friendly person wanders over, unlocks the door for him, and inside a room, a device is revealed that's filling a sphere with a smoky substance. It's Philip Jeffries, and he and Bad Coop have a chat. Bad Coop wants to know why Jeffries sent Ray to kill him, and we also learn that Jeffries never called Bad Coop, but it was an imposter. They discuss their prior moment together, and Bad Coop wants to know why Jeffries didn't want to talk about Judy. Jeffrey tells Bad Coop to ask Judy himself, and a series of numbers appear, and Bad Coop has the sense to write these down. Bad Coop wants to know about Judy, but Jeffries informs him that he already met Judy. A phone rings, Bad Coop answers, and now he's outside the convenience store. And holy shit, it's Richard Horn, and he has a gun pulled on Bad Coop. He knows who Bad Coop is because his mother Audrey had a picture of him. Bad Coop beats the shit out of Richard, tells him to never threaten him again, and has him hop in the truck so they could talk on the way. Bad Coop then sends out a text, Las Vegas, with a question mark, and Bad Coop and Richard drive away. Then the convenience store structure vanishes off to accompanying smoke and electrical sounds. A man is walking his dog in the woods. Scumbag Stephen is cuddled against a large tree with Donna's sister, Gersten. Stephen is rubbing his leg, and he's all depressed and suicidal. He continues rubbing his leg, and he has a gun in his hand. Stephen seems to regret doing something he did, but Gersten says no. She did it. Gersten tells Scumbag Stephen that he didn't do anything wrong and that he's just stoned. The man walking his dog startles them. Gersten bolts and hides behind the other side of the large tree. The dog walker himself is startled and he leaves. Gersten is hiding, and a gunshot is fired in Stephen's apparent suicide. The dog walker informs Carl about what he just saw and heard, and he points over to Stephen's trailer. Renee is seated with her husband Chuck and another couple at the roadhouse. James tells Renee he's happy to see her. Not cool, James. Not cool at all. Very poor form, especially when her husband proceeds to beat the shit out of you with a little help from his friend. Fortunately for Jimmy, his good buddy Freddie is there and he makes good use of his Hulk hand, delivering 2 one-punch knockouts. Jimmy is left feeling absolutely awful about this huge mess that he created. Wilson informs Headley that they have Dougie Jones and his children, but Headley is furious. They have the wrong Douglas Jones. In a perfect personification of the phrase cool as an assassin, Chantel busts into an office and murders Duncan Todd and his assistant Roger in cold blood. Jimmy and Freddie are put into jail cells alongside Chad, Naito, and the drunk guy who's apparently still drunk. The eyeless woman is feeling around, she begins making animal noises again, and the parrot soon joins in the chorus, and the jail cell again sounds like a zoo. Hutch and Chantel are eating some fast food. I assume it's Wendy's. They're both awfully upset that recent circumstances have denied them the opportunity of torturing any victims. And Chantel hates when Hutch brings her such small ketchup packets. Janie E. serves Cooper some chocolate cake, and he digs in. He's eating cake, and he's playing around with the symmetry of the salt and pepper shakers, and he hits the remote and turns on the TV. It's Sunset Boulevard. They're talking about the old team together, and when Coop hears the name Gordon Cole, it's as if a trigger goes off inside his head. Coop pauses the TV, and he seems to remember. He stares at the electrical outlet, he crawls over to it with a fork, he sticks the fork in the outlet, and an electrical surge throughout the house frightens Janie E. and Sonny Jim. The log lady calls Hawk. She tells Hawk she's dying, and that he knows dying is just a change and not an end. She says there's some fear in letting go, and she gives Hawk a coded message about something she told him in previous talks when they were still able to speak face to face. She says to watch out about The One Under the Moon by Blue Pine Mountain. They say their final farewells in a powerful moment that becomes even more greatly amplified when considering the condition of the late Catherine Coulson when she filmed this scene. Hawk meets with Bobby, Andy, Lucy, and Frank Truman in the conference room, and he informs them that the log lady passed away. Audrey is tired of waiting for the phone, and Charlie's got his coat on, but Audrey doesn't seem ready to take the big step out the door. Her and Charlie argue about putting her coat on. Charlie's so sleepy, and if she doesn't put her coat on soon, then he's going to take his off. Audrey is stuck on the threshold. When Charlie does remove his coat, Audrey attacks him in a fit of rage. A young woman is seated at a booth in the roadhouse, and these two scumbags don't care if she's waiting for someone. They pick her up, place her on the floor, and steal her booth. The woman remains on the floor, and then she crawls forward on the ground between a sea of legs watching the musical performance. The woman begins screaming violently, similar to what we have previously seen from Laura Palmer. And part 15 ends on a shot of the hotel that looks like the one we saw earlier on Bad Coop's Path, and we see a figure in the distance at the very end. So the big takeaways for me from part 15, number 1, way to go, Ed. While one shouldn't be quick to count chickens in Twin Peaks, it looks as if Ed and Norma may actually have a happy ending after all. Considering his recent turn of fortunes, I think Big Ed really ought to buy a couple of gold shovels from the good Dr. Jacoby. Number 2, so scumbag Steven thinks he did something horrible that he seems to regret. Donna's sister tells him it was some other girl. Are they talking about Becky here? Did scumbag Steven become suicidal because he crossed some line he can't uncross? I'm not sure if that's what's going on here. Maybe Steven's just high and his life choices have caught up with him and he's suffering severe depression. But it seems his demeanor is fueled by some significant recent regret, and I always felt as if something really bad was bound to happen to Becky. Number 3. When the hell are we going to get an update on Jerry Horn? Poor Jerry has been stuck in the woods for most of the season. Number 4. Hulk-Hand Freddy is now in close proximity with Naito in the jail. Is he going to protect her from a woodsman? Is he going to bend the bars and help her escape? Is he going to use his hand to absorb an electrical current that would otherwise cause her harm? Or will he ultimately just wind up opening a stubborn jar of pickles? Whatever his destiny is, Naito definitely seems intertwined with that. Number 5, it was a powerful sequence with the log lady. It was a powerful performance. And knowing the long history of friendship between David Lynch and Catherine Coulson, I thought it was a powerful tribute to the actress, the character, and their long-lasting friendship. Number 6, is Cooper back? I think that he might be. When he heard talk about the old team and the name Gordon Cole, something seemed to trigger that was far more profound than when he first made the association between coffee and pleasure. Hutch and Chantel are on the prowl. When they get there, will they be faced with the real FBI Special Agent Dale Cooper? Or maybe some hybrid transitional version who's somewhere in between? Or will it be a simple matter that the lights are out, where Hutch and Chantel don't believe anybody's home? I think the real Agent Cooper might be back, and that when Hutch and Chantel close in for the kill, they may well be going up against the real McCoy. Number 7, I sure hope we get to see the talk between Bad Coop and Richard Horn. What fatherly wisdom will Bad Coop bestow upon his degenerate son? And number 8, finally someone started talking about Judy. But this didn't do much to provide any answers about Judy, and it certainly poses a lot more questions. Does Cooper's doppelganger have access to the same memories and experiences as the real Cooper? Or was Cooper's doppelganger present when Philip Jeffries showed up at the FBI headquarters in Philly? Or is it possible that the person we've been viewing as Bad Cooper is actually the real Cooper, possessed by Bob, but in control, where he's working deep undercover in order to contain and destroy Bob? I honestly have no idea what's going on with all of this. But we now have reason to believe that there is an imposter Philip Jeffries roaming around out there. And we also know that Bad Cooper seems to feel threatened by Judy. Bad Coop wants to talk about Judy, and Jeffries tells him to ask her himself, that he already met Judy and knows who she is. Fascinating stuff. And I just wonder, is Judy somehow affiliated with Sarah Palmer? I have no idea, but I hope we can all make more sense of this soon. I thoroughly enjoyed part 15. I thought it was another tremendous powerhouse, and I'll be scratching myself all week because I'm just itching to see part 16. That's all I got. Hope you enjoyed. Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and have a wonderful night, everyone.